Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about a tool pretty much every single developer on the planet uses, but not everyone really gets. And I'm talking about Git. But look, this isn't going to be another boring tutorial where we just memorize commands. Nope, we're going to get inside its head. We're going to figure out how Git thinks so you can start using it like an absolute pro.
And this right here, this is the core idea for everything we're about to cover. We are moving way beyond just syntax and getting into actual strategy. My goal is that by the end of this, you won't just know what command to type. You'll understand why you're typing it. You'll see the bigger picture of how you're managing the entire evolution of a project.
So what's the first huge mental shift you need to make? It's this. Most other systems, they track changes line by line, right? Git doesn't do that. Every single time you make a commit, Git takes a snapshot of your entire project. Think of it less like a list of edits and more like a photo album. Each commit is a complete photo of your project at one specific moment. Grasping this is, well, it's everything. Okay, so to work with these snapshots, you've got to understand the journey that every single change you make goes on. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful three-step process. And I promise you, once this clicks, everything else in Git just starts to make sense.
It all starts in what's called your working directory. That's just the folder on your computer where you're actually writing code. Now, when you've made some changes you're happy with, you use git add to move them to the staging area. The staging area is awesome because it lets you perfectly craft your next snapshot. You can add some files, maybe leave others out. You're in total control. Then, once you're happy with what's staged, you use git commit to lock it in, saving that snapshot forever in the repository. That's your project's official history. This three-step flow, it is the very heartbeat of Git.
So we've committed our snapshot, great. But what is a commit, really? And what's the deal with branches? Let's break down the two most fundamental building blocks of your entire project history. You see, a commit is so much more than a save point. It's a super detailed record. It's got the author and a timestamp, sure, but here's the really crucial stuff. It has a unique SHA-1 hash. Think of it like a digital fingerprint that guarantees your snapshot hasn't been tampered with. And it has a pointer to its parent commit. That pointer is what links all the snapshots together, forming that beautiful project history we've been talking about. Now let's tackle a huge, and I mean huge, misconception. When you create a new branch, it totally feels like you're making a whole separate copy of your project to go play in, right? But is that what's actually happening under the hood? The answer is a huge, resounding no. And this, right here, is the magic of Git. A branch isn't some big, clunky copy of your work. It's just a tiny, lightweight, movable label that points to a specific commit. And that's it. This is exactly why creating and switching between branches in Git is mind-blowingly fast. You're not copying thousands of files. You're just moving a little pointer around.
Okay, so you've been working away on your awesome new feature branch, and now it's time. Time to bring all those changes back into the main project. This is where we wade into one of the most heated debates in the Git world. How do you combine different histories? Let's talk merge versus rebase.
Merging is straightforward. It takes your branch and the main branch and ties them together with a brand new merge commit. It perfectly preserves the real messy history of exactly what happened. Rebase, on the other hand, rewrites history. It takes all of your commits and replays them one by one right on top of the main branch, making it look like a perfectly straight linear timeline. This leads us to the golden rule of Git. Use merge for public shared branches like main. You want to preserve that history. Use rebase only on your own private branches before you share them to clean things up. And please, never ever rebase a branch that other people are also working on.
Of course, combining work sometimes leads to conflicts. You know, the best way to deal with conflicts is to just avoid them in the first place. And the pros are really good at this. How? They keep their work in small, manageable chunks. They make small, focused commits that only do one thing. They are constantly pulling down the latest changes from the main branch to stay in sync. And they do not let their feature branches live for weeks and weeks, because the longer a branch is on its own, the more it drifts away and the bigger the headache when you try to merge it back in.
All right, let's zoom out for a second. We've been looking at how Git works for you, the individual developer. But how does this scale up? Let's look at the big picture. How entire teams, entire organizations use Git to orchestrate all of their work.
Generally, you'll see two major strategies out in the wild. First, there's the classic Git flow. This one has a bunch of long-running branches: main, develop, feature, release, the whole shebang. It's really solid for projects that have a more traditional, scheduled release cycle. And then there's trunk-based development. This is where basically everyone works off a single main branch, using very short-lived feature branches. This is the go-to model for modern DevOps teams who are doing continuous integration and deployment. And that brings us to an absolutely critical point. Git is not just a filing cabinet for your code. In the modern world, a Git push is like firing the starting pistol for a massive automated relay race. That one little command can kick off a process that builds your application, runs it through thousands of automated tests, scans it for security issues, and, if everything looks good, deploys it directly to your users. Git is the engine that powers modern software delivery.
So, knowing everything we know now, let's just quickly recap the cardinal sins of Git. First, don't work directly on the main branch. Ever. Don't make these giant monster commits that change 100 different things at once. Write clear, descriptive commit messages. They're your notes to your future self and your teammates. And like we said, be so careful with commands that rewrite history, like rebase and force push, especially when other people are involved.
You know, all of this leads us to a final, really powerful way of reframing what Git actually is. It's time to stop thinking of it as just a tool for your code and start seeing it for what it truly is, a professional system for development.
So what's the big takeaway here? Git is not a backup drive for your code. It's a highly sophisticated system for coordinating teamwork. It's a powerful mechanism for reducing risk, letting you experiment safely and rewind time when things go wrong. And, as we've seen, it is the absolute bedrock, the foundation of all modern automated software development.
Which brings us right back to where we started. After seeing how Git thinks in snapshots, how branches are just simple pointers, and how it drives entire automated pipelines, the question for you isn't about which commands you've memorized anymore. The real question is, are you ready to use Git to truly professionally manage change? Thanks for tuning in.